See what's on the radar for Allan Small. He's the Senior Investment Advisor at the Allan Small Financial Group with IA Private Wealth. And Allan, I think Nvidia. Everybody's radar.
Everybody's
bing,
radar.
Bing, bing.
Exactly. Everybody's radar. Obviously, the biggest company in the world makes up almost 10% of the S&P 500. A lot of people, just with that alone, are talking about, is Nvidia the leader of the bubble, so to speak? And I don't think so. I don't believe that is the case. You know, you hear many people speak. You're still hearing that we're still in early innings of the AI boom. If that is the case, how can you believe that Nvidia is expensive? Actually, if you look on a forward earnings basis, trading in and around 30 times, growing 50%. So I don't believe in this bubble talk. I think that, yes, there are certain companies that perhaps are inflated in value, because the tech talk has lifted all boats, if you will. But for me, yeah, Nvidia earnings, it could put to rest, at least for the time being, all this fear about companies getting over their skis, borrowing money, growing too fast. Is AI actually doing what it's supposed to be doing? Are companies just spending out of control? You know, the companies like the hyperscalers, the Metas, the Microsofts, the Amazons. So it's going to, I think Nvidia, we've all been talking about it probably for weeks. It's now come down to what, 24 hours, a little more from now.
There's a countdown clock going somewhere, right?
The clock is counting down, exactly. We'll hear not only what they've done this last quarter, but I think when the CEO, Jensen Huang, starts to speak, it's more what is coming down the pipe, their next set of chips. And everybody and every company that has anything to do with Nvidia, business with Nvidia, buying their chips, anything to do with data center and AI, I think they're all going to be affected in some way come, I guess, 4:30 tomorrow afternoon.
And what are some of the numbers you'll be looking at that'll matter the most to you?
I think to me, it's not so much the numbers, as I said, of this past quarter, although they're obviously important, but what's the outlook? What is Jensen Huang going to say about the outlook for Nvidia chips? Is the boom still in its early innings? He's going to probably say yes.
Of course.
We've heard many other CEOs say yes. We want to know, are they selling chips? We're also hearing that demand is so strong, they just cannot keep up. Energy cannot keep up. The demands for energy for these, for AI, for data center, cannot keep up. And so, again, that is another fear. But it's funny.
But those aren't necessarily bad problems. You don't want them, but they're not bad problems.
No, but it's interesting because, if Nvidia says a very strong story, that demand is off the charts, well, I think the market could be a little spooked by that because maybe they're going to say these businesses are just spending like drunken sailors. They just keep spending, and that may not make sense. On the other side, if Nvidia says things are slowing down, that's not going to be good. Because for obvious reasons, that maybe we're at peak spend at this point in time in the AI story. So maybe a Goldilocks scenario, maybe not too hot, not too cold, just right. Everything is right on track. We're doing really well. The growth numbers are there, but they're not over the top. Maybe that works. It's hard to say. You kind of have to hit that down the middle sort of thing. So it's going to be difficult, and we'll have to see what the market does initially. And as we know, usually that first reaction to numbers is usually not the right reaction.
Yeah.
You got to take a step back, hear the conference call, see where markets open up the following day, and then that will give us some indication as what's going on.
Yeah, there is a few hours to digest that all. I just want to ask about, what do you think of Amazon? Just put out a bond sale, first one since 2022. It just comes on the heels of a few other bond sales from the tech companies. Does that have people spooked too? Are they looking and going, where's their money?
Absolutely. The spending is the part that's spooking investors. And what I say is, when you look at companies like Amazon or an Alphabet or even a Meta, the cash flow and free cash flow in these companies is just ridiculous. And so do you really have to worry when these companies go out and borrow? We've heard even Apple borrowing money over the years to fund some of their business because money was tied up in other jurisdictions, et cetera. So those kinds of companies, in my opinion, I don't think the market has to worry. It's the other types of companies, the OpenAIs, right? The private companies. OpenAI comes out and makes deals with Oracle and AMD and a whole bunch of others. Do they have enough money to be able to fund these projects? That is where I think that's ground zero for the nervousness. And we've seen a company like Oracle drop like 35% from that day where I think their stock went up 35% in one day.
Yeah.
They've given back all those gains and then some. So the spend is definitely where the fear is going forward in tech land, if you will, in AI. And I think we need to gain some comfort that these companies do know what they're doing. I trust that they do, especially the hyperscalers. These are the biggest and best companies in the world. I'm not concerned with those names. The concern, I think, is more with the others, the smaller companies that if they are borrowing to spend on tech, on AI, data center, et cetera, on the chips, is it worth their while? Are they getting return for their spend? That is the question.
Okay.